What's happening, guys? Here we go. Let's get straight back into it. Swimming D-pad. Yeah. Bring your question again, because I know I missed it. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you for joining us again.
No problem.
Did you have any more questions?
Not off the top of my head, you know.
No worries. So I've got some questions for you. What have you done with the pain of your journey?
I've used it to kind of teach others. I'm also thinking, like, in the future, to be fair, like, so corny, but it's kind of like I'm only just getting started. I do want to expand and like start a business and maybe like coaching, like care experience people, and yeah, but I've kind of just used it to help others that are going through the same thing and being the person that I wish I had.
It's interesting you say that. Are you saying then that that's how you manage it? That's how you manage your... I mean, I don't want to tell you what you've gone through. Maybe you could say, it's what I went through wasn't much, but you could say, actually, I've been through hell.
Yes, I've been through a lot, actually, when I think about it. Especially when I tell my story to others. Like, before I was just living with it. I just didn't really think anything of it. But when I tell my whole story, they're just almost speechless. They're like, you've been through a lot. How did you come out fine? Kind of thing. So, yeah, I feel like just using that for purpose, because I've been through like a range of different stuff. So I have like a range of different people who I can share my story with, and hopefully it will help them and prevent people from going through the same thing. Because also sometimes it wasn't my choice, and sometimes I was none the wiser, impressionable. I just didn't know better, so I couldn't do better. But now that I know better, I could do better, and I could teach others to do better and prevent things. Yeah.
What do you need to do that?
And what do I need to do?
What do you need to be able to do that? To be able to help others and share?
I think I feel like I could take what I've learned up until this point. I feel like I'm not sure. What do I need to do?
All right, so let me help you. All right, I tell you, I'm going to come. No. In fact, let me push this question. So, let's say you have a vision of what you're doing in the future. You mentioned coaching, yeah. Because you've got a great channel on TikTok, and guys, if you haven't followed it, go and follow this channel on TikTok, because she's actually, I find it fascinating that you are able to educate us so well about the system, about the care system. And I think you have a great voice. And when I say voice, I mean the way that you speak, the fact that you're saying it like, this is what I've gone through, this is what the system is there for, and the system isn't against us, the system is for us, but you actually get why people are angry.
Yeah.
You're not only saying that, but you're like, this is my journey. And so I'm actually saying, and if there's anyone who is watching, I want you to be able to put yourself forward to assist Shaiya on the journey of trying to get, I'll type in your handle in the chat. I want people to be able to, I want you to be assisted in getting your message out there. You'd like to be a coach.
Yes. And also, sorry to cut you off, I have another idea.
Go on.
I'm thinking a documentary, you know. I feel like a documentary that takes a deep dive into the care system. Like, I don't want it on the channels because they're going to censor it, but I need something real with... I don't know how I'll go about it. Yes, you absolutely. I was thinking you'd be great. I wanted to talk to you about it. But,
we're going to sign a contract. You and I are going to sign a contract because we already spoke about it. But yeah, so if you want help with that, I can help you with some parts of that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What other visions do you have?
speaker. I want to go to schools because I haven't really spoke about this situation, but when I went through a situation of exploitation. When I was like 15, I was in school, and it was a situation that it was just absolutely awful. I was completely ostracized by my peer network. I would like to go into schools and maybe do workshops and speaking engagements. I want to do a lot. Even want to write a book one day.
Okay. Come on, let me write this
It's a
down.
lot.
You want to write a book, speaker,
Speaking, coaching,
coaching.
and just work with youth and people from vulnerable backgrounds to give them a foundation.
Is anyone listening? Is anyone listening? Can you help? Yes or no? Come on now.
Yes, there should be
I
a
didn't plan
document.
this, but this is what we're doing. Shaiya.Wray is our handle on TikTok. Go on there because that's where we can talk properly. If you can help, reach out to her, DM her, DM me, whatever you want to do. Put it out here on the chat. If there's a space where she can actually be a voice. Well, Lou, let's try that. Let's see if we can get her on the Step Up program as an expert by experience. Maybe.
Excuse me, I've got hay fever.
Oh, look at that. New generation social work. I know him. And he's a serious guy. I'd love to have you give a workshop to my children at my workplace in foster care. Yeah. So let me know. DM me afterwards, okay? Shania.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. You could give an educational speech as an informed practitioners on local authority. Yeah. I'm glad for your ideas, but I want you to, if you could say, look, DM me, let's do it. Somebody's saying that they would love to help. You've got to DM me, okay, after the show. Really important. I'm currently doing research in lived experience of care experience African and Caribbean children. That was a private message, so I won't say your name, but you've got to DM me and then I can follow that up because when I end this live, I won't have access to these messages, okay? So let me just make a note of that.
What do you think about fostering? I'll answer this question while you're doing that. My swim.
Yeah.
What do you think about fostering? I think it's great. I feel like it's essential for the community. Obviously, there's flaws in the system, but I think all in all, it's good. It does have its flaws, but I don't. Some of the flaws I don't really feel like you can do much about, especially like in terms of preparation for when children are aging out the system. It's kind of just cut off. Like you have a safety net like before you're 18, and then when you turn 18, a lot of it goes, and a lot of the system doesn't really prepare you for the reality of it, even though they do a bit of life skills work before you turn 18. So I'll say that's mostly a downside, but everything else I understand, such as like the extra safeguarding rules, curfew, calling the police if you're not back on time. There's a lot that goes into it, but yeah.
Okay. So, guys, I want all those that are listening, I want you to give me or DM me if you want to support Shania on this. What tips do you have for social work? Oh, no. Do we have to read this last comment here? Aliyah Ali. Oh, yes, I've got her. Okay. I'm going to see if I can hook you up. I've got her on my LinkedIn. She's a consultant informed trainer. She might be able to give you some ideas on how to start your own business because she started her own business. Yeah, there's work out there. You know, Shania, don't feel too much pressure, but some of us here are invested in your progress, so stay close to us. Yeah.
Yes.
I want your tips for social workers.
My tips for social workers, I would say just be mainly be open, be transparent, reassure as well. Like let us know sometimes we don't know what you're there for. Sometimes, especially when I was a bit younger, I used to think social workers are there to take my information and use it against me in some sort of twisted way. Even though thinking back, how could a social worker like use information against me if I'm in the foster placement happy? Like, it doesn't make sense. But that was the mindset I had also from my mum. So yeah, definitely reassure and reassure and reassure. Like, let us know your job role, what you're there for. Um, yeah. Also try keep in contact as well in between visits, like if it's by text or email. I don't know. Like I suppose it's protocol most of the time I hear, but sometimes I've heard a lot of other. I've spoken to a lot of other care leavers and they're like they can't get in contact with their social worker, but even though it may be because of the workload, but yeah. Um,
Why did you set up the TikTok channel?
because like I actually started with YouTube actually. I think when I was like 17, I moved into my hostel. And it was when like the story happened. I think I was on universal credit. Something went wrong with my application, and I didn't have any money coming in for like weeks, and I had no food. And I'm like, and then I was trying to budget the 250 something pounds, taking out my service charge, and I'm like, this is my disposable income. Like it's barely anything. And I was like, nah, I was not prepared for this. I need to let people know what's going to happen so that when people come across my content, if they're going through a similar thing, they know what's to expect, so it doesn't come as a shock and so they don't go through a struggle as well, and so that even if they do struggle and they do mess up, they have something to refer back to as well. So it's more so, and also it takes away the ammunition of people's ignorance of the stereotypes and stigmas that they may have for like care leavers and the care system, and also stereotypes as well, like not just for me myself but for social workers and foster carers as well. People have stigmas and stereotypes, but it's nice to say the positives that I've experienced as well as the negatives I've experienced, so everyone doesn't think it's just all negative, and so people don't fear it, and so people, if they need the services, they like can utilize it as well and not be scared of it. So yeah, it's mainly that.
Okay. I've got three questions for you. They're reflective questions. Take your time. Answer the question how you want. You can answer it literally one word or however you feel. And then I'm going to say something after that.
Yes.
I'll give you a statement. You finish it. I am.
Worthy.
Worthy.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm worth something. I have value, and I'm not just like, I don't know. I'm not just useless. Like, I'm worth something.
I will.
Succeed.
I have.
Opportunity.
I will never.
Give up.
I need.
To not get weary and well doing. That's a Bible quote.
Is there anything else you need?
Need to be consistent. Definitely need to be consistent. I'm so awful.
Okay. That's it. Okay. So I just want to say, I am very fortunate to have you on the show. Um, you have to do this because you've come this far. And coming,
Get locked in.
say again.
I said I'm gonna get locked in.
You know, coming this far, anybody can make it. You know, but anybody can make it. But how we make it is crucial. So I want you to understand that you have made it a certain way with your head screwed on, with being vulnerable and honest, which makes you a great human. And great humans have flaws that we're working through. So I'm looking forward to working with you. We're meeting up soon, and let's see if we can get some good work done. You've just got to tell us how to, and you can have a think about it, but you've got to tell us how to help you do that. Yeah. Rasta Angel, I do add guests sometimes, but I can't do it today, unfortunately. Dedication, motivation, perseverance, guys. You need to show your love because that's what we do here. Remember, before we end our shows, you've got some supporters, you know. So, guys, listen. Go and follow her on TikTok. Ask her questions. Share her posts. And you're on YouTube and Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So you do the same thing on all channels.
Yes.
You better be sharing, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
So, you know, they're about 10 seconds behind, so you know it takes a moment for them to get what we're saying. But yeah, let's see if we can get you hooked up to some institutions because it's necessary. Yeah. Thank you. And I think unless you have anything else to say, you go look after baby and look after yourself, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
In fact, you know what, Shania, you can go. I'm going to put someone else on this live because there are, and I'm going to take a risk. Oh look, no, not before they finish telling you what they think. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. Yeah, thank you, Shania, for sharing. Thank
you.
Yes. Yeah, lovely.
You.
Thank you. I'll speak to you soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, guys. Thanks, bye.
Okay, Jamie Dodgers. Let's see if we can get you. Let's see if we can get you on. Whoops. Before I lock someone off there. Let's have a look. I'm going to invite you on. This is a risk because I don't know who it is, and you could. I don't need to give me hell on this show, you know. Hey.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I always say it's risky because I've done it before, and someone comes on and they find it challenging or they give away too much information.
Oh no, it's fine. I know Shania.
Okay. What, family friend?
No, through TikTok.
Lovely. So you was listening the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name?
My name's Jamelia.
Jamelia.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Why did you want to join? What did you want to say?
Literally, I agree with like everything Shania said. Like, I feel like social workers, like social workers are not. They're good sometimes, but then they're not good, if that makes sense. Like, I've been in care most of my life, so I've had social worker that will come for a whole year or 2 years, and I won't have a social worker for like 2 weeks. Then I'll get a random one, and then they just leave, and it's just back and forth, if that makes sense. So it's not consistent. And on top of that, about like abuse happens a lot in foster care, and neglect happen a lot. There's not a lot of support, especially when a child hits going into secondary school. Like, I feel like for me personally, in secondary school is a time where it gets difficult for them. Like, there's bullying happening. Foster care is not able to back you up or support you as their own child. And that's how the system fails you, in my opinion.
So I can take what from you saying. Did you want to ask a question, or did you want me to just deal with that point you made?
Deal with that point, but I wanted to ask you more questions.
All right, what do you want to do first?
Deal with this point first.
The point of what, social workers changing?
No, about the foster carer, like going into secondary school.
Tell me about what point did you want to deal with? Make the point again. Sorry.
Like going into secondary school and how foster care is supposed to help the child transitioning to secondary school, and how to like stop bullying.
And you think that, are you saying that's the role of the foster carer as well?
Well, it is, because you're technically looking after them.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
And there's bullying happening, and they're not protecting you.
The foster carer is not protecting you.
No, there's bullying in secondary school that happens.
Yeah.
So for example, my experience when I was in secondary school, especially year 7, especially when people go into teenage years and they started developing puberty and all that type of stuff, there's a lot of like bullying going on. Like, oh, you look like a Spotify because you got spots on your face, or weird stuff that people would like have happen. And I've always reported like bullying to my foster carer, but my foster carer wouldn't be able to support me, back me up, if that makes sense. So instead of me behaving very well at school, I would behave very badly at school as well as at home, because I was being bullied and there was no support put into that place, if that makes sense.
So what would you want? What did you want to happen?
Like more foster carers supporting young children with mental health problems, how to manage them in school as well as at home.
Are you saying that you have mental health problems?
Well, since I've been out of the care system, I've got mental health problems. I'm dealing with it currently.
So only had that.
You're cutting out.
Cutting out. Hello. It's me. Hello.
It's you.
Oh,
you're back now. You're back now.
Am I
calm.
back? All right. I'll ask the audience who they can hear and see, just to make sure, because I don't want to end the live yet. But you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Let's hope it was a temporary glitch. So, are you saying that because of the care that you received, from being in care, it had caused mental health problems for you now?
Yeah, since I've got a lot older, yeah, of course, because behavioural issues link upon.
Yeah. It's difficult to answer for foster carers because I don't work in that team, but foster carers are supposed to have training. But what I guess we're asking is, can all foster carers do what you're asking them to do?
No, because that's why they chuck you to children's homes. But then children's homes are so rubbish because it's not regulated, because they put you to unregulated placements, and that can link to abuse.
No. A placement, a children's home is always regulated.
No, my placement, I went to children's home, it was not regulated.
I can't imagine that they'd put, if they knew that it wasn't regulated, they would have to make it regulated by doing.
But I've got told now all placements has to be regulated.
Since when?
This year.
Oh, I know what you mean. Sorry, yeah, because the regulations are changing. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Either way, so this is my thing. Do you think that? I mean, what do you think the solution is based on that? So a child can't stay with their family. Yeah, you're going into care, and then you could go with any family. Yeah, just look at the foster family. what can you, because you don't know who you're going to, yeah? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
You don't know who you're going to. How do you fix that? Like, how do you make sure that that person is the right one for you?
Well, it depends because people go into care for all sorts of reasons, and it depends what like age you go into care to what your behavior is like. Do you get it? So it depends by versa to versa. Some people go into care because their parents literally don't want them. Some people go into care because their parents have some form of mental health problems. They get put into care. But bearing in mind, if you get put into care as a younger age, it's harder as you get older. But it depends how strong you stay with that foster placement for. If it's up to from that age, so from young, from 6 to 18, it's good if that makes sense. But if it's from 6, you move from 7, and short placements, it can get bad because it's like that person's going through different placements as well as different school, which will impact them with their social skills and communication, because you need stronger social skills from young till now, if that makes sense, so you can get better relationships. So it does depends by versa.
Let's read this quote. I think foster carers learn from experience. The best ones I work with have been fostering for years. Some start with good interventions, but don't always have what it takes. Intentions, but don't always have what it takes. And that's the thing. And bear in mind, there's a real shortage of foster carers. So we almost have to take what we can get. And let's say I've been doing it for 2 years and I haven't had that much experience, and I've got a young person that's come in and they've got challenging behavior, cultural differences. How do you think, I don't think you can answer that question, because I think it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sad, what you go through, but I don't know how to fix it. I don't have any idea how to fix it. We can only train and educate, but can you make people good people? Can you make
No,
the carers stand up for you? Genuinely.
my foster carer standing up for me,
Yeah.
because every time I was in LAC meetings, I would always be the last person to know what's going on. They already made an outcome and the decisions for me.
Is that good for you?
No,
What did you want?
to be in the meeting fully. But yeah, well, I'm 20 now, and the leaving care team, they're not as great. There's not much support they put in place
Did
for you.
you say you're 20 now?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel now? Do you feel like you have any support network around you?
Not really, because I cut all my family off, biological family. And I've got a few friends, and then I'm under a community mental health team for adults,
Okay.
and they're rubbish. So there's not really much support they can offer you.
What do you want?
If like well, like I did get put into care because of neglect.
Hold on. Pause there. Hold on. Before you say anything more about yourself. So let me say this, because I said this to Shania, right? I thought you were just going to ask questions, but I have to say this before you talk about yourself. This is live. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Have you been on social media about your story before?
Oh, yeah,
You sure?
yeah.
And
I'm
I
on
don't want,
TikTok.
you're on TikTok.
Yeah.
I don't want you to say anything that's going to make you look bad
Oh, no.
or your family look bad.
Oh, no.
Promise.
Promise.
All right, go on.
Like I got put into care because of like abuse, just put it that way. And because of this African system of how, like, you know how back in Africa, if you do something wrong, they'll like, how can I put it? They'll like cane you and stuff. And it's more like the case of,
I say African. What country are we talking about?
like Jamaica, like any type of African country.
Okay.
Like most of these people, like they're very, very strict, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And it's like since being growing up into the system, is always like my family is always looking at social services because of my behavior, and I had behavior issues. But I didn't feel like it was the case. It's more of because of my trauma that I've gone through. It's the reasons why I behave a certain way.
You went through something, some level of abuse, and then your behavior, you were playing up because of that abuse.
Yeah.
And then they would treat
basically, and plus because as a young age, I didn't go to nurseries. I didn't know how to socialize properly. So my abuse and trauma was what I used to behave when I did go to school, if that makes sense, because I wasn't born in the UK.
So you were chastised for bad behavior, but your you were chastised because you were acting up, but you were acting up because you was abused.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
What's chastised mean?
Punish, like using, you beaten, smack.
Oh, yeah.
What questions did you have for a social worker? Are you reading the comments?
Yeah.
Try not to.
Okay. What is hard in your role as a social worker?
Keeping up is one. So it would be nice if I could say, right, I've got to, what's your name again?
Jamelia. Yeah.
I forgot your name. I'm sorry, I'm not good with names, so I'm going to try and remember that. Jamelia. It would be nice to visit Jamelia. She's in care. But if I've got 25 of you and then I have a lot of documents to write up, when you call me, I have to think, can I answer this phone? I'm supposed to answer the phone call. It'd be nice to answer the phone call because you've got something to say to me. But I can't sometimes. And so that feels bad because I'm like, I can't answer them. Now, my problem is personally is that I will answer the phone because I've struggled to not. And so what happens is my administration will be strained. You understand? I'll be struggling to do things that are important for your life. But some social workers won't answer the phone so they can get that done. And so what I'm really saying is that we have too many cases. And so you feel neglected.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would ask a question. So, you know the placement sometimes where you pick for the children, do you feel like it's their best place, and why would you put them far away from their local authority?
What age are you talking?
Any age.
It could be for a number of reasons, right?
Yeah.
Jamila, we've got some questions we're going to go through in a minute. Someone wants to know how they can contact you. It could be because, like one of Shaiya, because where they are, we think they're unsafe. So we put them far away in a safe space, 10, 20 miles away. It could be in a gang. Or we put them where, for example, you are what's your heritage?
Black African.
African, right?
Yeah.
And that African is quite broad. So we will say, where can you say what country? Do you mind?
Liberia. But there's not really a lot of Liberians come to the UK anyways. They'll mainly go to America.
Okay, so you're Liberian.
But I grew up with a lot of like Jamaican foster carers.
So we can say you're Liberian with Jamaican affiliation heritage if you want. And then we have to put it out there and say, we've got a black child of these heritage. This is who she is and this is what she's gone through. And we have to wait for people to contact us and say, yeah, we're open to this. However, the only people we got 3 people that came back to us. One was in Scotland, one was in Essex, and one was in Wales. What do you think we should do?
Find another place.
So we have been looking, but no one's available. That's what it is a lot of the time. And then we say, oh, we've got one in Kent, but they're a white family and they haven't got much experience and we don't think that they will be able to meet your cultural needs. But we've got someone in Birmingham, yeah, who might be able to do that.
It's not really most about cultural needs whatsoever. It's about knowing how to look after you and supporting you with your mental health, your physical health, as well as keeping you able to socialize, because when you're in foster care, they make sure you go into activities like once or twice a week, as well as every Sunday you go to church or something, or if you're a Muslim you go to Eid.
So you're saying what matters more is not about whether they're black or if they can cook my food, but more if they can look after me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, depending on the age of the child, I think that I agree. I agree with that.
Because more of the time, it's always about, oh, go to church, pray to Jesus, or fix up your behavior. You're bad. I'm gonna confiscate your phone. If you don't do X, Y, and Z, we're kicking you out and giving you 28 days notice. The notice they'll give you is to chuck you into a children's home because you've tried all these multiple foster placements. It doesn't work. You're clashing, especially you're a teenager now, so you're going to be doing certain types of behaviors. For example, smoking, drinking, going out more in the night, doing things. But it's more of the case, now you're at a stage where you want to do this, but you've got a court order that's telling you can't do these things. Do you get it? So it's always difficult.
It's difficult. Is that what you were told when you was in foster care?
I was more restricted because of my mental health and because I couldn't be able to do these things, yeah, as a normal teenager would do, if that makes sense. Because now when you're 18 to 25, you're supposed to be working or in uni.
However, go on.
But however, like I said, I've got mental health issues and I can't be able to do all of these things. Like I was in education and I had to drop out because of my mental health was really bad. And it's not just depression where you're crying, it's more about serious mental health issues. But the system, all they do is kind of like fail you, because it's like they don't care about whether you've got mental health issues. They'll just treat you anyhow. And it's not where it should be the case. Do you get it? They know what's right for you, but they don't really know anything. Because just because somebody has a clean DBS check doesn't mean they are good at what their job role is. So yeah.
I am learning from you. A few of us are learning from you. Someone said here, there's a lots of research on cultural matches and many people think it's really important. I did this for my dissertation and it's interesting to hear your view. So they're saying that a lot of research suggests that maybe you should be placed with a family that you can identify with culturally. But you're like, I just wanted to be cared for. So we should take your views into consideration. I like what you're saying, and I find it interesting. The system is not built to fix everyone's problems. It will let you down. But we have to create a sense of community. So you have to turn to people like Shania, and I think, is it someone else here, Evie, in the chat, Evie Adelaide, who's saying, you know, how can we contact you? So you have to build yourself a community. Okay. None of us are out here alone. I'm not out here alone. People are having sympathy with your story, and it looks like, and I appreciate your honesty as well. You're like, you know what? I had some bad things happen to me, and it's messed me up a bit. But we want you to stand up strong.
Yeah, I'm always posting every day on TikTok.
You're not getting into any silly arguments on there. No.
I'm careful who I do certain things with.
Okay.
Very careful.
Do you have any more questions? Because I'm going to end it in a few minutes, but I'm open to another question of yours if you have one.
Yeah, sure. How comes pocket money? How comes it's given to the foster carer and not to the young person?
It depends. If I find that the young person's capacity or there are risks around their personal exploitation or their inability to manage money is an issue, then I will give it to the foster carer. If I find that the young person is generally responsible, then eventually, depending on their age, then they can be given parts of the budget for themselves to spend. It just depends on how they are.
What age?
What age is what?
To give them money, pocket money.
Well, they get an allowance. So from about 15, 16, they'll get certain amounts progressively.
Oh.
For me, anyway, it just depends on the young person. So I remember I put a young person in a care home, and they were like, I'm very, very independent. I'm very responsible. I could take care of it. And in that first week, 2 weeks, they spent all their money, and they were calling me up and swearing at me and cussing me off, saying, I've spent all my money. I need you to help me and bail me out. Now, I couldn't do that at the time. I had to ask a manager, and the manager said no. Because they spent their money. If we bail them out, they'll never learn. So that was that particular young person. That person was 16.
Oh.
So we have to be careful about that. If I give you your money and you just spend it or give it away, you could have a boyfriend or friends that are just taking it from you. You could be spending it on weed or just not managing it. I will be in trouble for being irresponsible for you, you know. But yeah, so that's why we hold it back sometimes. Other than that, we should be, you know, around the age of 16, we should be teaching you about independence. 16, 17, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got another question. Why is independence so useful as a care kid? Especially when they've been brought up in a way to be as more independent as their other peers.
Ask that question again for me. It's me. Sorry.
So basically, I'm saying how comes? So as I was brought into care, I was taught to be more independent compared to my own age mates, who was, by the time I was like 15, 16, because I was given my first allowance, which was 60 something pound a week, sorry, and I had to manage that. But as my friends who was in school wouldn't be able to know how to cook for themselves.
Why did we teach you to be more independent?
Yeah.
It's important because at some point you won't have a social worker. The sooner, right, see that, and Andreas is saying there, you are more resilient because you had to be. So we know that we've only got a few years with you. When you hit 18, you've got a personal assistant. You won't have a social worker. And our roles are a little bit different. We have to teach you to be able to fly. So sometimes we'll get a young person who goes into care at 17 and they're still a child in their head because they've never been taught responsibility. And I'm like, let's say it's on their 17th birthday. I have 1 year to get this young person to be independent. Is it enough time is the question. They've got to manage their when they get to a certain age, they're going to manage their universal credit, housing benefit, or housing rent. They've got to get a job. They've got to go to college if they're in, you know. Are they going to learn it in 12 months? It's a short period of time.
Yeah, but mental health and their well-being should be more put at first than their just independent skills.
Yes.
But they slack it though.
There are gaps, no doubt. Never going to take that away. What's going on? Why am I getting balloons? There's no doubt, you know, that is a thing. But
yeah, but I don't really believe that, because as now you get a council house, you're so fixated on being so independent, then you've got this mental health problems, but they don't care about it. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Now, I would say there are services that can help you. Don't get drawn into the comments too much,
Sorry.
though.
Sorry.
Swipe it. I don't know how you can shut them down a little bit, but it's tempting for me as well. There is support out there, more than just your community mental health team. Yeah, and I think there are some people in the chat. Now, I generally work in more children, so it's not my strong area. But there are mental health services that you need to join into. You need that. And I don't want you to focus on how bad the system is. This is one of the best countries in the world for mental health support. You just got to just reach out. And I think some people in the chat, did you take down Evie's details?
No, but I can follow her.
Follow her and DM her. I'm sure there's a couple of people in the chat that might want to just point you, but don't just rely on one institution. You've got to kind of get out there and find other people, other services, not people. I'm tired now. Find other services that can help you, because they might plug the gap for you.
Yeah.
Because social services is limited. We're supposed to be doing everything for you, but it really isn't built like that. So I'm advising you to go and get more. You could request an adult social worker from the team, mental health team. Are you not getting mental health support in the community? So a lot of people are asking questions. I think some guys here are really
So
good
I'm getting mental health support.
Yeah.
Like, I had an adult social worker, but I got told you can't have an adult social worker and a community mental health team. So when you're an adult, instead of CAMS, it's community mental health team, where you get allocated to a care coordinator. Bearing in mind, if you live in London, they are rubbish. They're mainly agency, and they stay for like 2 months and then they leave, or they stay for 1 week and then they leave.
Do you think you need a social worker?
But I got told you can't have an adult social worker.
No. Do you feel that you need one?
Yeah, I've asked that to my PA multiple times.
What do you need a social worker for?
I don't know. I'm very independent. That's the thing.
So what do you want a social worker for?
Mainly be to guide me more better than a social worker, than the PA.
All right. So
but they're more useless though, because I've had them and they didn't really do much.
So you don't need a social worker. You need a PA. Yeah. You need. What's your PA like? Okay. So look, you see this guy Andreas, yeah.
Yeah.
DM him, because I think he works in adults. I might be mistaken, but I'm sure he works in adults. Yeah. You need to get in contact with people who can guide you towards services. That's your PA's job. If they're not doing it, you're doing it here and now. Okay.
But can you get a PA
No.
and an adult social worker?
You say no. Sorry. No. Ignore that. Not adults. Okay. But he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I spoke to him before. But I'm saying to you. So what was your question?
But can you get an adult social worker as well as a community mental health team?
Why do you need a social worker?
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't think you need a social worker. Social worker is really there because of safeguarding or risk issues, potential harm. If your mental health is impacting your capacity, you don't sound like you need a social worker. But I'm not here. I don't work in adults. If you needed a social worker, you'd have one. But I think it sounds like you feel that you need more support. There's people in this chat. If I were you, I would do screenshots of this chat.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's someone saying I think the issue is a PA and a social worker in terms of having one. Your PA should be. Are you still there? I think she screenshotted and it's disappeared. Yeah, guys, you see how complex this is. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, she's screenshotting. This is a complex issue, and I'm glad for the conversation. Jamelia, yeah, she's screenshotting.
Yeah, sorry.
Did you get someone else's names? Yeah.
Yeah.
Contact them.
Sure.
All right. I'm going to end the live now, but I first want to thank you for being very brave and coming on and asking your questions.
Can I message you?
Yeah, you can. And I want you to know, what's this say? You'll watch back. I want you to know that I want you to look after yourself.
Can you screen? Are you saving this?
It will save, yeah. At the end, it will save.
What does that mean? I will get it.
Everybody will access it, but the comments won't necessarily come through, I don't think.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Look after yourself, please.
Thank you so much.
By the way, I just want to say, don't focus on how bad the system is. Go and find other help.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye. God bless you. Bye.
Yes, bye. Look at that smile. That was a nice smile. People, that was intense, and this is intense. This is serious. She's very brave. So you all want to be social workers, all right? Here we are. I think we've learned a lot today about how we need to be, what we need to be, what we need to be. Yeah, and I think the risk paid off. It did. You don't know who you're going to get. It's very rare. Yeah, it's very rare. I've done it before and it didn't work out once. But yeah, a good spirit, you know, and the impact of when people. This is another side of it as well. You're seeing. We've had 2 people on this show who. This is what happens when people are neglected and abused. This is what happens. We've got mental health. We've got perpetuating the cycle of abuse. We've got people who are going to spend the next 10, 20 years just trying to get over the one hurdle of abuse, and probably never will sometimes, you know. So this is why we really, as social workers, this is why we do this, because we're trying to stop that. So, for example, when I worked in the assessment team, we're some of the first people to meet the families who we see the early signs of this stuff. What we've done here today is seeing what happens at the end. This is what happens at the end. We get to the end and we're having people upset with the system, and yeah, the system has flaws, but it's their family's fault. You know, and then we you know, foster care doesn't always solve the problem at all. Residential homes don't always solve it. So yeah, there's essay due at midnight. So, you know, this is why we're here. We're here. When you see risk and harm, you go to those parents and you deal with it. You have no fear. You deal with the issues on the table and tell them directly what it is. Don't be afraid of people. You've got to be open and honest, because you know that if you miss anything or cut corners, and I learned this so much in the assessment team, it's a really good team to go into, guys. You will learn a lot. You cut corners and then you end up with children deeper in the abuse, and this is what we have. So we've got to stop all that. Let me just read some of your comments and then I'm going to go to bed. Do you get me? Yeah, bless her. She's a beautiful spirit. I think we just kind of helped her make sense of the situation a bit more today. Rasta Angel saying, it's interesting. They've brought up the gaps within the multidisciplinary, multi-agency teams with young people in and coming out of care. They've shown the gaps. Someone's got essay. Andrew, you got essay. I very rarely get to see the end. Yeah, appreciate you. Big love. What's concerning is the voice of the child is not being heard by sound. I'm telling you. And I learned from an early stage when I used to do assessments, working in the assessment team, was if you don't have the voice of that child, you have not done the assessment. And unless that child is not making himself available, which is still a voice. But if you don't get the voice of that child, you haven't done an assessment. I used to work with adults and saw the end results and how I'm in the children's services at the beginning, because prevention is better than cure. You have to get in it early. They will hate us. Some people will hate us because we interrupt what they're doing as families. We step in and we say no more, and they cannot see the neglect and the abuse. But that is the job. That is the job. It's scary that the voice of the child is still being heard. I think I know what you mean. There you go. So tonight we've seen the beginning and the end. I'm going to go now. Have a good night, everyone, and appreciate this. I will put this also, you know, what I do with these shows is I put them on podcast as well. So you can go on any of the podcasting platforms and pick them up. We've got to episode 150 of the Social Work Race podcast. Go on to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any of them, and just listen. And, you know, it's been 2 years now. Thank you, Shaiya, again. Thank you, Jamelia. Thank you, Social Work Way. Let's just keep promoting this stuff. Show me how I can help you. If any of you want to appear on the show, let me know. We can talk about anything social services. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I was about to say, just about to click off. If you can contact the guests, do so. If you can offer anything, please do so. This is still a part of the healing journey. Have a good night.